Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. What a day. What a day. We have a drug cartel war that has exploded in Mexico. We have multiple live feeds to share with you tonight from Mexico. We will open the phones for anyone that might be watching and wants to call in to comment as the broadcast progresses, or if there's anyone in Mexico that wants to call in, you can do that as well. I could even provide a video link, but I know at least one of our Maverick Knights is down there in Mexico tonight. And I see someone's in the chat as well. Making comments about being in Mexico as well. So we can certainly get some information from, I think it's ProImmune, who has indicated that they are in Mexico tonight. So we'll see what we can learn on that end. I can tell you right now that Foreign Affairs Canada has issued this travel advisory. I'll bring it up before we take our first break and prepare for tonight's broadcast. Mexico travel advice. Here's what the Canadian government is advising. They're saying and exercise a high degree of caution with regional advisories. And the reason we're getting regional advisories is because in some cities, these drug cartels have essentially gone to war with Mexican authorities and I would say the United States and the Trump administration, because there's no question the U.S. has been providing intelligence, I'll say guidance as well. And so you've got a lot of U.S. involvement here. They wanted to go in and use military force. At least some people around Trump wanted to do that. And the Mexican government said no, but did agree to sharing intelligence. And of course, now we've got this war on drugs that has erupted into chaos in the streets. And we've seen some people shot, killed. We've seen this thing spiraling in some respects out of control as the drug cartels blockade some roads in tourist areas like Puerto Vallarta, where many Canadian and U.S. tourists are tonight and are being advised to shelter in place. Right here, Foreign Affairs Canada saying violence and roadblocks in southwestern Mexico. Criminal groups have set up roadblocks with burning vehicles in several cities in southwestern Mexico, especially in the following areas: Jalisco State, including Puerto Vallarta; Guerrero State, including Acapulco; and the Michoacan State. There have been shootouts with security forces and explosions. There are significant disruptions to travel and transportation, including flight delays and cancellations. The shelter-in-place order is in effect in Puerto Vallarta. All taxi and rideshare services are suspended until further notice. It says if you are in southwestern Mexico, keep a low profile, monitor local and international media to stay informed of the rapidly evolving situation. Follow the advice of local authorities, including any orders to shelter in place. Before making your way to the airport, check your airline to determine if there are delays or changes in flight schedules. And that is because of everything unfolding in Mexico this evening. So that's what we've got going on there. I'm going to get some information on the phone line that we will have available for people to call in to determine what the, what, if any, I don't know if I might be able to call down to Mexico using this phone system. I'm not sure. So let me just check how the system is going to work tonight for this purpose. As we take our first break, we also will be talking about the person shot at Mar-a-Lago after breaching security there. And we'll touch on probably some of the other top news stories of the day today as well, including Canada's heartbreaking loss to the United States in the gold medal final in overtime earlier today. But the top news story of the day is this exploding drug war in Mexico. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity, the Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. It custom shelves for your books or your tech. Cozy space for your treasures to protect. Built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day.
Designed and developed by Brightleaf Innovations, proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea and exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, we're back. So let's just begin with this. Let's just go to a live feed here. I have many of them up tonight. I am the phone number that we have for this system is not toll free from Mexico. I can provide a video link. If you don't want to use your video, you can just turn your camera off. I will put that in the chat, so anybody that wants to make use of that can do so tonight. And I have a toll-free line that people can access, but only from the United States or Canada. We just are not set up for international calling without fees. So everything should be done over the internet. Okay, let's bring up this CNN feed. First of all, here we go.
Of organized.
Well, there's fear among residents. We're receiving reports that a store has been set on fire, and people in Guadalajara and Jalisco say they're worried about what would happen next. Let's remember that he's a long-time leader of the cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, one of the most powerful and fastest-growing criminal groups in the country, and he was a voice.
Hang on just a moment. I need a moment here. Here we go.
Vertical militarized structure, heavily centralized around El Mencho, and his absence could trigger an internal struggle among people competing for control in the cartel. And history tells us that when cartel leaders fall, well, violence can spike. And this is exactly what we're seeing right now in Jalisco, in this Mexican state, and in the capital of this state, in Guadalajara. What's happening now?
Valeria Leon, really appreciate the perspective. As you've been speaking, we've been showing images from the country as well, including from Puerto Vallarta, obviously very popular for American tourists as well. We'll continue to monitor this story and bring you any developments. So following breaking news out of Mexico, CNN has learned that the leader of the powerful Jalisco New Generation drug cartel has been killed today during an operation led by Mexico's military. The cartel boss, who goes by the nickname El Mencho, was widely regarded as one of the country's most violent criminal figures. He was also wanted in the U.S., with the Justice Department putting out a $15 million reward for information leading to his arrest. Now, authorities in multiple Mexican states are reporting the blocking of various roads, with vehicles set on fire by alleged members of organized crime, along with clashes with security forces. These are some of the images coming out of the country now. The U.S. Embassy in Mexico just issued a shelter in place to all U.S. citizens in areas where the operations are now taking place. So I want to bring in CNN's Valeria Leon, who joins us now from Mexico City.
Okay. So they're putting that on a loop now. And I'll share what we know so far. So the Mexican army has killed the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. El Mencho is the name that he is best known by. This happened today. It decapitates what really has become one of Mexico's most powerful drug cartels, and it gives the government its biggest prize to date for the Trump administration, which has been demanding action on these drug cartels for some time, in much the same way they've been threatening Canada, honestly. Okay, let me put the link up here. I'll give an option here. So, well, I'll put this link up is what I'll do. All right. Going back into the system. And this is a video link that I will put in here. I think we've got somebody who, if I'm reading my text messages correctly, looks like somebody might be able to join us. So there's the link. You can join. I'll put an alternative if that's not working for anybody. I'll put this one up there as well. Okay, on the fly. There's another video link there. So one or the other will work for you. They'll both work, but one will be easier than the other. If you go into the first one, we can add phone calls to that as well. And you know what I'll do right now, because I know some people probably would like to comment on this, or if anybody does want to call in on the phone line in Canada, you can do so calling this number. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Exercise your right to free speech. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. Okay, so we'll see if you want to call in 1-647-734-4220. Punch in the PIN number when prompted, 860-075-764, followed by the number sign. I'll leave that scrolling on the bottom of the screen, and we will go now to some video clips that I have lined up, including some from Canadians who are down there vacationing, and now we have, oops, we've lost our tabs. I can bring this up, though. So this is what it looks like down there. Okay. So they're burning cars in the streets, some buildings set ablaze as well. We're also getting word that there has been some sort of a curfew set. We're being told that anyone caught outside their house will be killed on sight after 5 p.m. That was 2 hours ago. So I guess that's in place now. So we'll try to confirm those reports which are coming in.
No te muevas. Bájate, entrégate. Las manos arriba. No te muevas.
Let's go to, I think maybe we should just go to the chat. Yeah. So I'm seeing in the chat, is it ProImmune who is, he says, I would love to comment, ProImmune, who is down in Mexico tonight? Okay, ProImmune leaving hotel at moment. Okay, so probably not able to tap into the feed, but the link is there, so maybe at some point we'll be able to connect with ProImmune, who is on the scene down in Mexico. And everybody, I hope you stay safe down there. It says no leaving the hotel. I don't know if that means no, you don't leave the hotel, or no, he's leaving the hotel. You know, they says they're burning buses and cars. This, I'm reading the chat. And ProImmune is in Puerto Vallarta. I've been there myself a long time ago. And ProImmune is on the scene. Yeah. Very, very dangerous situation. And, you know, I'm seeing different takes on this, and politics even coming into it already. With I just saw a post saying Democrats are behind this, no doubt. Okay, whatever. I just know that some people around Donald Trump, even after his first go at the presidency, in between, were developing plans to go after the Mexican drug cartels. And now that he's in office, we've seen these plans put into action. And often these things don't go quite according to plan. The plan that was developed was called Operation Sinaloa. And in a way, you're seeing it unfold here, but not in the way that the plan was originally designed. What we've seen instead is cooperation from Mexican authorities and the military down there. And this has been the response after now seeing this drug cartel leader killed today by Mexican authorities or Mexican forces using, in part, U.S. intelligence, we're told. But we're told, again, strictly Mexican forces that were responsible for the killing of this drug cartel leader. I guess during this operation, they had troops come under fire. They had 4 people. They killed 4 people at that location. 3 more people were wounded and later died. And 2 others were arrested, and armored vehicles, rocket launchers, other arms seized. 3 members of the armed forces were wounded and are receiving medical treatment. In response, we've seen now roadblocks burning vehicles. The killing of this drug lord has exploded into roadblocks, burned vehicles. And they're taking control of some areas in southern Mexico in particular, I think. So we see all these videos on social media now with smoke billowing in the distance as vehicles burned, some buildings set on fire as well. And it looks like the all flights in and out of Puerto Vallarta and at least maybe one other airport have been suspended. And again, the U.S. and Canadian governments issuing shelter-in-place advisories for people in Mexico who are down there vacationing or for whatever other purpose they might be in the country. And I'm kind of wondering how this is going to impact the FIFA Cup plans U.S. State Department monitoring the situation. Canada's embassy in Mexico also monitoring and issuing updates to their advisory. Hang on a second here. I have to keep this this window up here. And we have more video to share with you tonight. Okay, so again, video shot from what appears to be maybe a hotel window. And I'll share this with you. I don't know if that's actual true video or not, so I'm going to be very careful what I'm showing you here tonight. And we have this also. Street scenes, more fires.
So everybody is being told to leave the area right now here on the beach. The tiki bar is being cleared out. All of these things are being cleared out. It's being roped off right now. They're asking that everybody vacate the area and leave immediately. You can see the smoke. I don't know if you can, the smoke in the sky. But we were just walking on the beach and we saw smoke everywhere. And we're being informed that there's major cartel violence happening right now all over Puerto Vallarta. Apparently, they've captured a top-ranking cartel member, and when that happens, all-out war happens. A number of cars have been set on fire, motorcycles set on fire. In fact, there were some attendees of Anarchapulco who were in a taxi cab. Taxi drivers are apparently targeted by the cartel. They were they had their car shot at. The taxi driver was murdered and the car was set on fire. All of their luggage has been burnt, including their clothes and passports, in fact. So it's a pretty scary, dire situation right now. We're being told do not go out at all, do not walk in the streets, do not get in a taxi or an Uber, do not go to the airport. In fact, the entire airport may be shut down right now because of this cartel violence. I mean, we heard Trump mentioning a while back that he's going to go after the cartel in Mexico. Is this the beginning of that? Are we witnessing it live? I don't know, but everybody here has just been instructed to leave the area immediately. The entire beach here is being shut down. It's clearing out, and really intense situation going on here in Puerto Vallarta. So I'm gonna continue to document this as we do. We're gonna stay safe.
So that was from earlier today, and on the scene. More video here. This may be, I'm not sure, but I think this may be violent. So viewer discretion advised. I haven't had an opportunity to vet this video, so no preview. Here we go.
¿Te dieron? Checa ya la celda, la morra, güey.
Again, I don't know what you're going to see.
Hey, ¿te dieron? Hey.
It's going to be violent.
Ponte en un lugar, güey, que no se...
Maybe, I think it's after the fact.
Así quedó mi vehículo.
Where I think you had a... this is where 2 Mexican National Guard members were ambushed. 2 were killed at this scene. 1 was injured. This is video of, I'm not sure, this is, no, this is old stuff, so I won't show it to you. More video of the authorities there in action. Here it is. And yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing here. This is the Trump administration's new war on drugs in its beginning stages. This is the United States putting pressure on the Mexican government to crack down on these drug cartels, not just for mitigation of drug trafficking or smuggling or exports, but also for political reasons. But Scheinbaum said no to allowing U.S. forces to be directly involved in this, at least on the surface or visibly, but did agree to intelligence sharing and I think other levels of U.S. involvement here. And so this is, make no mistake, this is the Trump administration with its fingerprints all over this. And quite often, military operations don't go as smoothly or quite according to plan, right? So now we're getting pushback from the cartels, which maybe they were expecting, maybe not, I don't know. But I think it's, well, there's no question, it has come to as a big surprise to U.S. and Canadian tourists who went down for a relaxing stay in the sun and instead have come across this Sunday, February 22nd.
I can see the flames underneath that black smoke. Major flames there. Huge plumes everywhere. Another big one over there. Another one directly behind this resort we're staying at. Pretty much surrounded by this right now. Really intense scene happening here in Puerto Vallarta. Hopefully we're able to get out tomorrow, but the airports are shut down as it is right now. And as I understand it, military may be getting involved soon. Power may be cut very soon. So pray for us, guys. The situation is intense.
Okay. All right, let's take another quick break. Come back on the other side. I'll queue up some more, bring you up to date, and we'll touch on some of the other stories. So, I mean, crazy day today. So much going on. But this, I think, is just the beginning of something in Mexico.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, well, let's touch on some of the other stuff going on, and we're going to come back to this story. Because I know that a lot of interest as well in the situation at Mar-a-Lago today. Secret Service agents and a Palm Beach County deputy killed a man. They shot him after this person entered the secure perimeter at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Apparently, it looked like he went in with what appeared to be a shotgun and a fuel can, according to the Secret Service in a statement that they released. So let's go to, we have this from the news conference. This was earlier today as well.
At 1:30 this morning, the security detail detected that a individual had made his way into the inner perimeter of Mar-a-Lago. A deputy and 2 Secret Service agents on the detail went to that area to investigate. They confronted a white male that was carrying a gas can and a shotgun. In order to drop those 2 pieces of equipment that he had with him, at which time he put down the gas can, raised the shotgun to a shooting position. At that point in time, the deputy and the 2 Secret Service agents fired their weapons and neutralized the threat. He is deceased at the scene.
Earlier today, 2 special agents from the Secret Service and a deputy from the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office were involved in an officer-involved shooting while responding to an armed individual at one of the gates at Mar-a-Lago. Preliminary information indicates that the individual was armed with a shotgun and a possession of a gasoline canister. Agents and the deputy discharged their firearms to stop the threat. At this time, no law enforcement personnel were injured during the incident. We want to be clear, the President of the United States was not in the It's an active investigation by the FBI.
Okay. So President Trump never in any actual danger today. And also, we have this big blizzard coming in as well, right? Let me just bring this up for you, because I know this is likely of concern for some people. I don't think Canada is going to get hammered like some parts of the U.S., but a state of emergency in some areas has been issued on the U.S. side of the border tonight. Here.
Of New Jersey is declaring a state of emergency and sharing this warning.
The entire state of New Jersey, all 21 counties, is under a blizzard warning for the first time in 30 years. This is likely to be the worst storm that we have seen since 1996. There is a 90% likelihood of the whole state getting a foot of snow or more.
Wow.
The governor there with that serious warning. You're looking at Valerie Castro at the Jersey Shore in Long Branch, New Jersey, where there's a lot of wind. Valerie, you heard it there from the governor, the potential for a generational snowstorm here. And the very intense wind gusts are going to really up the risk for power outages.
Yeah, Hallie, we've already been seeing some of those wind gusts since we saw you about an hour ago. Things have really picked up steam, and I'm just going to walk along here along the boardwalk. You can see the ocean waves are really whipping at this point, and things are only expected to deteriorate as we go into the evening. As the governor mentioned, the entire state of New Jersey is under a blizzard warning. When we spoke to the Monmouth County Sheriff earlier today. He said if this storm is anything like the one they had in 1996, he says the next 24 hours are going to be fearsome and extremely difficult. He's urging everyone to stay off the roads and stay home. He says the county is prepared. They have 10,000 pounds of salt ready to spread throughout the area. He says local hospitals have staff sheltering in place, spending the night there tonight so they don't have any trouble getting there tomorrow. And he says crews will be out throughout the evening monitoring the conditions and making sure that people stay off the roads because this will continue to get more dangerous. The eastern portion of New Jersey is expected to see some of the highest snow totals. Here in Long Branch, we're expecting up to 30 inches of snow. So things will look drastically different come tomorrow morning based on, when you compare what you're seeing right now. We have seen some of the snow starting to move in. Earlier today, it was mostly rain. It has just started to turn over to snow in the last few hours or so. It has begun to stick to those grassy areas. Not really quite sticking here on the boardwalk just yet. But again, things only expected to get worse. But I will show you, Hallie, that people here are diehards when it comes to living along the shore. Here comes someone running down the boardwalk, a jogger exercising. Sir, can we talk to you?
No, F off.
Keep it up. His face is bright red, Hallie. I don't know if you can see. His face is cherry red. The winds are whipping. They are brutal. I have goggles on. He does not. So Godspeed to him. Hallie?
It's probably that. I can hang on a second here. I'm going to go back to that. I think that's funny. I think that's hilarious. Here we go. Listen, watch the reaction.
To him. Hallie?
I was just I cannot believe that just happened because I'm in my head thinking, wow, it at least looks pretty empty there down the shore. Maybe people have gotten the message that this is a good opportunity to kind of hunker down. Beyond our jogging friend there, you haven't seen too many other people, right, Val?
It's just, first of all, that guy's probably a Canadian just down there for a winter vacation. The guy who runs by, that happens all the time on those live hits with reporters that they send out into the field to do these reports on storms. All the time they're in the middle of a hurricane or a tornado or something, and it's pouring rain, and then somebody will be dancing behind the reporter in a bathing suit and acting silly. And here it's like, it's terrible out here. Don't come out. You could die. And then somebody just jogs by. It's like, it's not a big deal. The storm won't really hit until overnight, I guess. And I'm not sure. I'm going to check the weather report up here. So I don't think we're going to get hammered up here on the Canadian side as much. Not where I'm at anyway. But maybe closer to the eastern seaboard. What are we looking at here? So where I am here in southern Ontario, yeah, chance of flurries. Pretty moderate. I was at the hardware store today, and they were putting out the lawn chairs, the barbecues, all the stuff we're going to need for spring and summer. Let's go back now to the situation in Mexico. This is a live cam, but I rewound it to show this moment when smoke began to billow from something in the distance, probably a building, maybe a car. This is in Puerto Vallarta. Let me see. I'd like to get rid of this white thingy on the side, but for whatever reason, the system isn't letting me. So I'll run it this way, if the video will run, hopefully. Here we go. So this is just the beginning of some sort of a fire. When I finish running this, we'll go to an actual live feed. So you can see it start right there. I'm still laughing about the jogger. Of course, that had to happen to that poor reporter, right? It's it's going to be snowmageddon all over again, and then somebody just jogs by. Like it's no big deal. So the U.S. State Department did offer up a $15 million reward for information leading to the arrest of El Mencho. Now, he's dead. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel, or CJNG, one of the most powerful cartels in Mexico. Scheinbaum has criticized this kingpin strategy of various administrations in the past down in Mexico that took out cartel leaders, because she has said in the past that that just triggers explosions of violence when cartels are fractured, leaving power vacuums. And, she's still popular down in Mexico. And I think partly in response to the approach to diplomacy, or maybe lack thereof, that Trump has employed. And she has been under tremendous pressure from the Trump administration to show some sort of progress on combating these drug cartels in a way that the United States wants. And this has been the result. So you take out the leader, you create a power vacuum, you get violence in the streets. These things rarely seem to go according to plan. Let's just pull this down for a moment. Now here, I'm going to just fast forward to time period where this is more visible now. This was the fire a short time later. And, there's another question that I have, and that is, where do these drug cartels get all their weapons? Are you following my lead on this? Who arms them? Where do all the guns come from? And now we have a big problem down there. Okay. And we'll go back live here in a moment. Let's pick this feed up live now and see where things are at right at this moment. Here we go. And there it is. Is it up? Computer's taxed. Gonna have to shut some things down. So that fire is out. Okay, let's pick up this other live feed from Puerto Vallarta. This is at a resort, live cam. Here we go. Switch the feed. There we go. That is live right now. As you can see, nobody or very like a couple of people down there, but nobody at the pool. Sun is setting. Nobody out at those tables under the umbrellas. Everybody's inside. Except we see two people, some other people standing there. Looks like some kids maybe with them. But pretty much everybody has vacated that public area, and they are no doubt sheltering in their rooms right now. Any comments in the chat tonight? Take another break. Be right back on the other side of this.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarmingly, some media simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
In an ocean of lies a century deep, the truth awaits. Choose not the red pill. Choose not the blue pill. For both are an illusion. Discover the power of M. The power of individuality. We are Mavericks. We are the way to the light. Fear not the storm. Join our quest for truth. Truth will set you free. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity. The Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. It custom shelves for your books or your tech. Cozy space for your treasures to protect. Built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day.
Designed and developed by Brightleaf Innovations. Proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea and exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
Okay, I need a moment longer because I think we're getting somebody set up for a feed from Mexico. So give me one moment. We'll share that with you on the other side of this one.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. I'm going to pull up that live feed again. Producing and hosting on the fly. There's that live feed from Puerto Vallarta. It's dark here. I guess that's, I don't remember. But yeah, I guess that's a different time zone because that's the correct time. But it's still light there. What is the time zone in Puerto Vallarta? I'll check that. Yeah, it's only 7 o'clock, so they're an hour behind us, which is why you still have some sunlight. That is live from that resort. So we have some other video to share with you from Mexico tonight. Did anybody watch that hockey game? I didn't get to see it. I did not get to see that. I think we have footage. Probably, I think this might be that Costco that was involved in. Oh. Okay. Yeah, this is where the cars were set on fire. Just a moment. And here it is.
Jesus. So there's rumors Costco burned down. It didn't burn down, but there's definitely buildings where vehicles around it on fire. And there's some motorcycles, I think. My wife's FaceTiming me, so I gotta go because she's gonna kill me. I told her I was sneaking out to get garbage. Wife just FaceTimed me with a very short, turt, someone angry, get home. So Costco is not burned down, despite rumors. So this street here, Fluvial Boulevard, you normally take your life in your hands when you drive past it because of the traffic. Now it's not traffic, it's just exploding cars.
Hmm.
So let's Puerto Mexico.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. I might have something else here. Hang on. Maybe this. Okay. I have a lot of things spinning in my head right now. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I've got a lot of stuff, a lot of questions about all of this stuff swirling around us right now. I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself for the moment. I'm going to try to get my thoughts together. I'm going to take another break because what just ran through my head I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say nothing for a moment.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. I've got other audio in my head here. Hang on. Oh, I have to go over here and refresh the. There we are. Okay. Oh, okay, coming in on that feed. There she is. Hang on a second here while I put you up on the screen. Can you hear me okay? Okay. And I got to link it here and link it there. And I've got somebody coming in here, folks. Here we go. There she is. Angie Clowry back again.
Am I the guest that never ends? Like the song that never ends?
Yeah, I what was the name of that show that song was on? That kids show. Can't remember. It'll come to me later. Anyway, so welcome back. I didn't expect to see you so soon.
Was it Sharon, Lewis, and Brown? I think that's it.
Yeah, it could be. And then it was the puppet and all that, right? Yeah. Anyway, these strange places we go to with this program. So you have information of some kind, or you want to just share your thoughts about what's going on in Mexico?
Well, the wild thing is I was in Puerto Vallarta a month ago at this time.
Yeah.
I got in on the 21st and we stayed till the 28th. So that's shocking. I can tell you, we definitely picked the right time. We were just going to connect with one of my friends from the area who's in Mexico, but they actually have crappy cell service, which kind of makes sense. So they said they'll connect possibly tomorrow. But yeah, I have a number of friends who are sheltering in place right now. I think there's about 10 of my friends that are in Puerto Vallarta, and they've all been posting the same. It's definitely concerning, and they have made some threats, is my understanding, the cartel. So they're telling people, like, if you were in your cars, we are going to steal your car and we're going to burn your car. So they outright have told everyone that. So yeah, my understanding is there was a 5 p.m. Curfew that was in place in Puerto Vallarta.
Yep.
And it sounds like they've threatened another area of Mexico now as well. But I don't have information on that. It's interesting though, because there's a bunch of people that are supposed to be flying tomorrow, just like going through Okanagan community groups here. And yeah, definitely a concern.
Yeah, so Donald Trump posting just a short time ago that Mexican authorities have, here, I've got the Facebook feed for him up, but it's probably coming from Truth Social, but here it is. He says the Mexican government just reclaimed Puerto Vallarta. Blackhawks and mounted weapons crushed cartel chaos. In the wake of today's decisive strike that left CJNG kingpin Nemcio El Mencho Osuguera Cervantes dead in a Jalisco raid, Mexican forces have deployed heavily armed convoys complete with mounted heavy weapons, backed by UH-60 Blackhawk helicopters to reclaim control of Puerto Vallarta. The operation comes after cartel gunmen torched vehicles, set up roadblocks, and unleashed violence across Jalisco in retaliation, threatening residents and tourists in one of Mexico's premier beach destinations. Is that where you were? Puerto Vallarta? Yeah. Yes, it is wild. We ran that earlier. And here's some video.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, something just struck me. Okay. Well, let's stay in touch. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Now, there were posts being made by people. I don't know if you can. You know what I should have done is brought this up on the feud. Hang on a second. I'm going to pause that. I should have done this instead because I just took you off the feed when I was talking. It gets complicated when we bring this phone system into it, which is where your video is feeding through. It doubles the complications. So let me, again, I'm doing the same mistake. I need to bring it up over here. Should be there. That's where we need to put it so that you can see it as well. Now it makes sense. My apologies.
All good.
Trying to think on the fly. Right there. And let's roll the video. bring it up here. I'll start it over again. I'm going to say this is the international airport in Jalisco being evacuated. It says, but there were posts from, I know Laura Loomer, maybe some other people, but certainly her, saying U.S. citizens, tourists, were being taken hostage. This video associated with it, but I don't think any of those reports have actually been verified or confirmed at all. So if you're seeing that, I'm not sure that that's true. Okay, so that's that.
I believe it's pronounced Jalisco.
Jalisco, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And that is located 17 kilometers south of Guadalajara, is my understanding, that specific airport. And it says airlines have suspended some of the Jalisco flights due to the security. This is going back. This is the Mexico Daily News. This is from 5 hours ago. It's advising passengers to contact their airlines. So, and this is, my puns are intended, a hot time to go to Mexico, as many people do travel. So it's, you know, there's lots of families and down there. And now, did you hear that they said if the cartel's demands are not met, they will start to go after non-locals? I've heard that gossipy around, but I don't have any confirmation on that.
I think there are a lot of rumors flowing. I've not seen confirmation of that. I can check the latest.
Oh, they're saying there's unrest across at least 6 states. This is from the Mexico News Daily. Jalisco cartel chief, who they call El Mencho, killed in a Mexican operation. The feared founder of Mexico's powerful Jalisco New Generation cartel has been killed by federal forces, triggering roadblocks, vehicle burnings, and the unrest across at least 6 states. They're saying there's no cancellation or impacts on other airports. The air terminal is under protection of the National Guard. Apparently referring to the video footage showing people panicking and running inside the airport. Information and material circulating on social media doesn't correspond to the situation of risk inside the terminals, but rather more hysteria among passengers. So yeah, it's hard to kind of tell. And then, so the Mexico News Daily that I'm reading off of, like, who runs that? So in some countries, some of the cartels or governments do get last right of refusal to, I shouldn't say last right of refusal, but get to share what's coming out there. So I really don't know how accurate this is. Earlier in the day, the Guadalajara airport advised passengers to allow extra time to arrive due to unforeseen circumstances on the highway. Meanwhile, Air Canada said on X that due to ongoing security situation in Puerto Vallarta impacting the Vallarta airport, Air Canada has temporarily suspended operations there today. So it sounds like Air Canada is not flying out of PV as well. And just to note, we were going to have, you know, a resident of British Columbia call in, and they don't have the best cell phone service and Wi-Fi there right now. So unfortunately, we're not going to get him. They said potentially tomorrow they could come on.
Okay. So we know that situation there is still fluid. The descriptions online are that some people are saying this is like a full-scale war in these areas. We've seen videos of buildings being set on fire, cars. I saw a video of, I guess, cartel members rolling into a gas station, taking it over, and then setting it ablaze. And we've seen no confirmed reports of civilian casualties as of yet, but we have seen gunfire, like open. Some are saying it's like warfare between what the National Guard, I guess, in Mexico and these drug cartel members.
I saw it. They say that the organization that took out the cartel leader, they were calling them the Mexican Army, but as I see it, they are called the National Guard on the side of the vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And it just notes here, some bus services have been canceled or delayed, presumably due to the risk of violence on Mexican highways. Due to the death of the head of the cartel. He was wanted on both in Mexico and the United States. One affected service was that between Mexico City's northern bus terminal and San Miguel. So there's a couple of other areas that are also obviously affected. But yeah, at the beginning of this, Mexico News Daily, they are saying that 6 states have unrest, is what they're calling it.
Yeah, that's an understatement, I think, because they are blockading roads, they are threatening and even attacking civilians, although, as I say, no confirmed reports of any civilians being killed. They're burning businesses, and I'm also seeing reports that hospitals have been set on fire, and that's why they have been evacuating people from some hospitals. And we are also seeing messages being leaked, which suggests the cartel is threatening more violence against civilians unless federal forces involved in the operation are handed over, with a deadline set for escalation in Guadalajara. But I think that deadline is kind of come and gone, maybe about 2 or 2.5 hours ago. So I don't know what ramifications may have come from that, or how they're going to follow through on that deadline, or what the threat was on the other side of it, or else what. Don't know. And now we're seeing just moments ago, this is like just moments ago, Trump posting that Puerto Vallarta is now back under government control.
Well, the president, Claudia Sheinbaum, urged Mexicans to remain calm and stay well informed after federal operation targeting the new generation cartel leader. And they are saying foreign governments issued a shelter in place, which we already know. And it says that it doesn't say Puerto Vallarta airport is shut down, but it's saying that there's challenges there. What's interesting to me is that nothing else has on the Mexico News Daily website. Nothing has been updated for the past 5 hours. So that's concerning as well.
Yeah, we've seen, since Trump came into office, these renewed and upscaled demands for action on these drug cartels. And that is what we are seeing. This is the result of the Trump administration's pressure on the Mexican government to do something about these drug cartels, which they say are responsible for the flow of illicit drugs, especially fentanyl.
Well, also in the Okanagan Valley, unfortunately, we've had 2 large-scale methamphetamine labs taken down that have direct ties, allegedly, to the cartel. So there's one in the Shuswap, and there was one that was in Falkland. Now, these, I believe, were 2 years ago. But to have that information that the cartels are funding and creating, methamphetamines, like to know that they're backing that's hugely concerning. And so I believe that was 2 years ago. And if you want to look for that information, our local news source here is castanet.net. But, if you think of that and this, and being a person that works with the unhoused, when COVID happened, one thing that we saw is the heroin just doesn't exist anymore. And that was the drug of choice by many. It relieves the pain, it relieves the emotional pain, the physical pain, it shuts people down essentially. And so what happened is fentanyl replaced heroin because heroin couldn't get into the country anymore. Fentanyl is easier to produce, as I understand it. And so it's more prevalent, it's more available. And then they also now, our big challenge that we have in British Columbia with the overdoses is that it's great that the government, the NDP provincial government, issued, is it $15 million more for nasal Narcan? The problem is now we're seeing what's called tranq. So it's actually horse tranquilizers that are mixed in that, and the opioid, it's not an opioid, so it doesn't reverse it. So we have we call them ugly overdoses when you can't recover anyone and you actually have to do all the breaths and, press on a person's chest. It's traumatizing for the individual. It's also traumatizing for those of us that do save a life. And to know that the drugs are switching now from opioids to another drug that knocks people out. And, we have to, to save their life, we have to pump on their chest and give them breaths. And I say that not because I don't want to do it and not because I have done it, but the problem is for us to save a life. The Narcan brings back people, within 5 minutes, whereas that just isn't the case anymore. So it's unfortunate that whoever's cutting these drugs with these newfound tranquilizers that I imagine are easier to obtain than the fentanyl, it just puts a whole other layer on the poison drugs.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious. Just do maybe you can just do me a favor and just search online.
Sure.
I'm just curious to know which social media influencers, especially on the U.S. side, are down there tonight.
Okay.
I'm very curious. Let's take a little break and I'm going to search a little bit here. You search a little bit there. I'm just curious who's down there. And we'll be back on the other side of this, folks. So don't go away. I will be back with Angie on the other side of this.
Maverick News isn't just a news outlet, it's a community of truth seekers. Your donation at freedomreporters.com fuels our mission to report the stories that mainstream media won't touch. Thank you, Maverick family.
Okay. I'm searching. I'm looking. Who's down there? I guess not too many.
What were you thinking? You were thinking that some people might have known this was going to happen, or?
Well, I don't know. It was just it just seemed odd to me that some of these, I'm seeing some people popping up in the feeds that I'm like, holy smokes, why are you there? And then, but I know some of these people, I wasn't sure if they were down there or not. Like Laura Loomer was posting stuff and saying hostages are being taken, but I don't think any of that was true. And so anytime you get any of these stories, you kind of get weird stuff going on and, conspiracy stuff flowing. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell's going on with the coverage and why we're getting some of this already kind of crazy stuff going on, right? And it's all crazy out there. You've got, first the situation in Venezuela. Then you have, we've got this huge naval armada down there and it looks like we're going to go to war with Iran. We've got this going on in Mexico. The situation in Greenland, I don't know if it's stabilized or not. It's now kind of fallen out of the news cycle to a degree. And then Canada loses the hockey game. Now tell me that's not fixed.
Oh, come on. You know what's here we go. Now you pissed me off, Rick. But no, I think with the hockey game though, I can't stand the 3-on-3. We need to go back to 5-on-5. I can't stand the shootouts. Let them play hockey. You know, it's everyone's watching. Well, everyone in Canada and the US is watching. So, you know, and kudos to the US team. They brought out the little kids. Sorry, I can't remember the fellow's name that previously played for Calgary. He and his brother were knocked off and unfortunately killed when they were riding their bikes the day before their sister's wedding. So I think it was the Chuck brothers, I can't even say that word right now, brought the son and daughter out. So super sweet moment for them, and kudos for them. Like I said, not a fan of the 3-on-3.
Yeah. I didn't get to see it, so maybe I'll watch some of the highlights later. Here's this. Yeah, we ran this earlier.
So I've just shared some information with you, Rick, but it's on TikTok because that's kind of where stuff is live. There's a fellow by the name of Dan Dix that, granted, it's from 6 hours ago. I have a couple things that I've sent to you that are.
Yeah, I already ran that actually earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you email that to me or?
No, I sent it to you on TikTok.
Oh, on TikTok?
Mm-hmm.
All
Do you want me to email
Well,
it?
I'll open up my TikTok account.
And this is the interesting part, is this is where a lot of people share from now, right? So it used to be Snapchat, now it's the old Tickety Talk.
Yeah, and I have this account. I've done a little bit over there, but I don't have a message from you.
Oh, it's because you have to respond to me. I've sent a whole bunch and then they'll show up. So you just have to send me a respond, and then they'll
Yeah,
all go
I
through.
don't see anything in my messages, so I can't, like, there's nothing in there to respond to, is my point.
All right. I'll send them via email then.
Yeah, that would be much better. In the meantime, I can open this up. And I don't use TikTok very much because we're long form and I don't do many of the short bursts or threads or whatever people call them on all the different platforms.
They can go up to 10 minutes now, so
yeah,
that's a couple months old.
Yeah, there's a whole crap load of stuff here. Oh, I'll bring this up on the feed.
I think also CBC has just posted something from an hour ago, so I'll send you that.
Here we go. Yeah, I don't know. Now I'm getting like people messaging me. I have to punch in my security code every time I want to read a message. No audio for video, and you guys not talking might make people think muted. I don't know. Are we muted? Do we have audio? I'll have to go back over here, open this tab. I can't keep up. Do we have audio? I don't know. I'm just going to keep talking and pretend like we do. I don't see why we wouldn't. I think we have audio. Don't we have audio? Yeah, I do. I have audio. I do have audio. I have audio. So there we go. Let's scroll down. I don't know what that is.
I've sent you both CTV and CBC's latest news updates.
Okay. We ran a lot of this stuff earlier. This is another angle on that. On here. Do we have somebody joining us? Yeah, I guess we do. Am I in the right window? I have so many windows open. I can't keep them straight. Just give me a moment while I figure out where I got to go. Here we go. Who is this coming in? Okay. I have somebody calling in, I believe. Okay, there we go. Somebody joining us. Who's there?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your good old dragon.
Hello, Ian. How are you tonight, sir?
Doing good. Actually, your sound is good.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I was just letting video roll with, so I don't know, maybe it just looked like we didn't have audio. It's just
the video don't have. Yeah, it's the video that don't have audio, but your audio is on. Your mics is.
So there's no audio, no audio flowing through this system. Okay. Yeah, it's always a challenge technically when I'm trying to do this stuff on the fly. I apologize for the technical glitches. Doing my best here for you. So, what are you seeing and hearing out there, Ian?
Taking care of the snow because we are going probably to get it too. But
Oh, are you? You're gonna get the
no, on
storm up
what's
there?
going on with the Mexican thing. You know, I'm thinking about it and having a long thought about what's going on.
Hey, Ian,
And
your
yeah,
audio is your phone connection is not good. So why don't we get you to disconnect and then dial back in, and I'll put you back into the system. Okay? Probably will be better when you call
sure.
back in.
You want me to get on meet?
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand what you said.
Okay, I'll call you back in a minute.
Yeah, let's try that. I'm gonna cut this feed here too. There we go. Okay, we're back that way until he phones back in. I'm gonna go over here and find these links that you're sending me. All kinds of stuff. So the question is any of this stuff stabilizing down there?
There's a couple of people reporting, visitors to Puerto Vallarta. One that I just sent you. You might want to putting like clip 1, clip 2. I can't say that it's stable. People are to be sheltering in place in Puerto Vallarta. Has been shut down. And yeah, unfortunately, we were going to have a British Columbia resident call in, but the cell service and Wi-Fi obviously is not at its best right now. I just got a message from a friend whose dad is an hour north of Puerto Vallarta. Their complex is on lockdown as well. So it's a challenging time.
Scary time for people down there, I'm sure. Where's that feed? Here it is here. Let me get some audio up. That's not the right tab, Rick. Where are you going? I don't know. I have that. Is this the right? That can't be the right tab because I'm in that. It's got to be here.
Wait.
There it is. Yeah, that's it, right? It's like let me come back here. Okay, there you are.
There's another individual I sent you, and he has longer form updates there, and he notes them in number 1, 2, and 3 that I believe I sent you. And I also sent CTV's latest update and also CBC's latest update.
All right, we'll bring this feed up here.
Yeah, this is noting Mexican troops have been deployed to Puerto Vallarta after major cartel attacks. Now, my question to you, Rick, you showed some of this earlier. Was that the National Guard that had the military personnel with the automatic rifles in the back, or was that the cartel?
Everything I'm seeing, I don't know. I'm rolling video, man, on the fly. I don't even know what video you're referring to. I showed many videos. One was with National Guard vehicles. There was a National Guard incident where, you know, the National Guard vehicle and bullet shots in the windshield, and my mind is a little jumbled because I have like 50 tabs in front of me and I can't keep it straight because I got this system working with the other system, and it's cooking my brain just trying to do, and audio issues on top. So I apologize. I'm a little discombobulated.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I do have another friend who's in Puerto Vallarta right now that just posted, checking in, all good, we're safe.
Good.
Actually, I did ask some. Actually, I know there's some part of my family traveling right now, and I don't know if they're in Mexico. I know that they were not so long ago, so I'm actually waiting for some confirmation, see if they're safe and whatnot. But I was thinking about what's going on, and I see all the pressure that Trump is doing to Mexico, so they get rid of the cartel, right? And I see that coming here, probably in Canada soon. That's my fear.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the I know that in Mexico they have a serious problem with drugs and drug cartels. They have for a long time. Sometimes it gets very violent. We've seen, you know, these drug wars result in people being hanged from overpasses, like by the neck. I've seen images and videos of those things happening. That's what goes on in Mexico. Canada had, like every other country, we have some degree of a drug problem, but I know that the propaganda that has been ramped up in recent months, especially since Trump came back into office, has been exaggerated on the Canadian side to apply maximum pressure against our country, to get our government to bend the knee and give Trump whatever it is he seems to want, whether it's to take over our country or a better deal on something, whatever. I also know from personal contact, from research, that I know some of the people behind the planning for what is actually going on right now down in Mexico. And I have a perspective on it that most people just would not have. And I can't share all of that information because I don't want to share things that I can't solidly back up with verifiable information right here, right now. But I do know that, you know, what's going on down there has been in the works. They've been planning this for a long time. And I don't think that it's unfolding the way that the original plan was laid out, but this is the result of the actions that have been taken to date.
Without asking too much, I'm going to ask you a question. Is that plan came from 1920, 30s?
No.
And if you no, okay.
No.
Because I had another angle.
Recent. I mean, this is all Trump. It's all MAGA. It's all, you know, that's where it comes from. And Rick, the people behind him. Yeah.
To put it into perspective, though, so October 31st, 2024, RCMP raided and dismantled the largest and most sophisticated drug lab ever in Canada. So this is in the Okanagan Valley in a small community called Falkland. They shut down the largest and most sophisticated fentanyl and methamphetamine drug lab ever found in Canada. So the facility could produce over 95 million potential lethal doses of fentanyl. And so this specific one, there was also one, I believe, not too far away in Spalmsheen. Both of these were connected to the Mexican cartels. And so
send me the link on that, please.
Absolutely.
I'm just pulling up some old notes. Are you emailing me information? Grab this. This was just sent to me, so let me just share this with you guys. This is the Crow House official feed. Just a moment. Angie, are you going to send me that information on the drug bust thing that you were talking about? Or did you already? Are you guys
Yes,
there?
sir. I'm grabbing some other stuff too that's noting that the cartels are involved in the drug business in BC.
Who's this coming from? Who's the source?
Castanet News, our local news source in the Okanagan Valley.
Uh-huh.
And
All
also too, CTV and CBC has it. So this is going back to 2024.
Yeah, send me the stuff, if you would. Okay, coming back to it. Here we go. Yes, it is. And thank you for that. That was the Crow House official. I'm going to be following him. I'm going to subscribe to that channel. And I'm liking his video too. I think that guy's dialed in.
People don't hear the feeds from the video, but to narrate real quick, the mister on the video says that basically it's all by design. Trump, it's an operation from Trump. It's controlled, and yeah, it's on the plan. So
yeah, you know, it's like look, this goes back to Major General Vallely again, who is in Trump's orbit and has been influential even in retirement. He's not retired. He's still active and influencing things with the people around him and those other generals. And this is Operation Sinaloa. This is what they developed, which we told you about before on the program. It's a real thing. But as this is unfolded, we know that the Trump administration, some people around Donald Trump did not want to go, all the way in with their own military. Scheinbaum was against having the United States come in and said no to having U.S. forces on the ground in a visible way. And so as a result, you're getting this sort of, this kind of a launch to the operation where you have the Mexican forces doing the frontline work and the U.S. providing intelligence and the Mexican government bending the knee to Donald Trump saying, okay, just don't take over our country. We'll work with you to take these guys out. But now you're getting pushback from the cartels who have a very strong foothold in that country and influence over the government. And they're saying exactly what we just heard. They're saying, if you're going to launch this kind of an assault on us, and then we're going to push back. And what they're doing is they're doing this in a very public way. Why would they set vehicles on fire? Why are they setting businesses on fire? It's a public display of power and to create chaos in the streets, to spread fear, terror, especially among the tourists. It disrupts and destroys the tourism industry. It makes people not want to travel there. It makes a very public statement. You get all of this attention through social media, but that in itself then plays right back into the hands of the Trump administration, which is going to use this, as we just heard, as justification or to put more pressure on the Mexican government to say, you guys need help down there. We better come in and intervene, and we'll help you by putting boots on the ground in there. And this gives them the U.S. or literal war on drugs. This is just the newest incarnation of the U.S. war on drugs. This is Donald Trump's version of it, which he is using as a pretext for some sort of an invasion to exert U.S. influence over the Mexican government and make them bend to his will and turn them into a puppet regime. Instead of having the drug cartels controlling the government or putting pressure on them, it's going to be the U.S. government that does it instead. Essentially, is kind of what's going on. And so what we just watched there, absolutely, that's, in my view, what's really going on. What's been going on up here in Canada? He's been using that same sort of rhetoric, the same sort of propaganda. Yes, Canada has drug labs. Yes, we have drug dealers, and yes, we have some meth labs, and yes, we have all of those things. But the vast majority of the drugs in Canada flow across the border into Canada, and most of the stuff, including the drugs produced at these super labs out in BC, the vast majority of that product is shipped overseas to places like New Zealand and Australia, to those markets. It doesn't flow back to the United States. The precursors come in to Canada, and then they are shipped out to other places. They don't flow back to the States. And a lot of the stuff that is used in those labs comes from Mexico through the United States to Canada, and it makes no sense to then turn around and ship it back over the border into the US. And I know that there's a journalist, sort of a journalist guy, whatever, who has been, he's a mouthpiece and he gets traction, but he leaves out a lot of details. And sorry, Canada is not the threat on the drug front that Mexico is. There's a very real flow of drugs from Central America, from Mexico up into the United States, and Canada has a drug problem as well, but it's not flowing back into the US the way that it does from Mexico. We need to secure our border to prevent all the drugs and the guns coming into our country from the United States. That's not to say that some drugs don't go back to the States. That bus that you just sent me, Angie, as I'm looking at it, the information I have on that is I just looked it up and did the more background on it. Some of that was destined for California, but others for international shipments. And the super lab out there, Australia, New Zealand, everything I've looked up over the last, year with regard to all of these accusations leveled at Canada, Canada ships to overseas destinations.
I think the concern is that the precursors for all of this do come from China. And as I've worked with the unhoused population for the past 6 years, I don't understand why we don't have sanctions on China for this kind of stuff. Like, instead, we're building more relationships with them. And I can't understand, for both fentanyl and meth, the precursors, my understanding is meth can be made from some stuff underneath the sink as well. But the precursors for fentanyl specifically do come from China. And recently we had a drug bust here in Canada. I'm not going to remember where, but it was supposed to be canola oil, and it was actually liquefied meth. And so there was like a crate of it. And like this, it is a serious thing. We do know that there are some meth labs, in the interior. We've been told that. We've had 2 large drug busts. One with fentanyl and meth, one in Spalmachine, one in Falkland. Those are both in the Okanagan. They are, they note here, it's interesting to go down the rabbit hole. It says transnational gangs and cartels. So then you have to flip through to the other news stories that then they go and they, sorry, I can't remember what it's called, but when the RCMP and the province take back the land and the vehicles and whatnot. So then if you go and look at that, then they show you that it's a direct link to Mexican, I shouldn't say a direct link, but link to Mexican cartels. And so it's super interesting that all this is happening, and that how they ended up in the Okanagan, that's super scary. And another link to this, unfortunately, if you remember the Bacon brothers and all of those gang-related shootings, we had a horrible one here in Kelowna. What was happening is then the two gangs were, you know, taking each other out back and forth. One is linked to, you know, we called him Teflon Don. One is linked to him. His vehicle, his truck, he was shot point blank. I believe he was living in Princeton. His vehicles were then found at this Falkland drug lab. So a piece of equipment and his own truck. So that's gone on for what, 15 years now. And that's linked to, you know, they say transnational, which means Mexican cartels, you know, so.
But the point I'm making, Angie, is that Trump has been using drugs as the pretext for 51st state rhetoric, for the like for the tariffs. There's actually a fentanyl tariff that we pay now as that it is paid at the border, levied against any Canadian exports to the United States, a fentanyl tariff. He's using it as a pretext for all the things that he's doing. But that Falkland super lab that you're referencing, the distribution was aimed at Australia and New Zealand primarily, not to the United States. And you're seeing.
I'm very familiar that the majority of meth does go to New Zealand and Australia. That's well known.
Yes.
I think is though.
So our problem with the United States and Mexico are our problem because they're shipping the drugs to us and guns.
Right,
and
but
then
also
we're being
no,
blamed. Then Trump is saying, well, you better secure your border. Yeah, well, you know, every country has some drug problem. And there are a lot of details left out of a lot of this reporting so that Canada is painted as this narco terror state. We have drug problems up here, but the stuff is flowing into our country. And then in some cases out, you know, the exports are going overseas, not going back across the border. It doesn't even make sense.
I know, I understand what you're saying, Rick, but here's my issue as a person that works with, and let me tell you, I've never done meth. I've never done fentanyl. I've never done cocaine. I've never done crack. So I get that you don't like Trump. I value and appreciate that.
It's not about that. It's about unfair accusations leveled at our country in order to generate a propagandistic pretext for an invasion or a takeover or for tariffs and economic warfare against our country, which is, it's all predicated on conflation, misdirection, outright lies, misused statistics, exaggerations.
But also too, what is the province in BC? And we are a living example of how legalizing drugs did not go in the right direction. What I think it did in BC, for example, just let me finish, is that it allowed the RCMP to understand.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
It allowed the RCMP to understand.
That's our problem.
Allow me to finish. RCMP right in front of me used to take people's drugs out of their hand, put it on the ground and stamp it out.
Okay, well, is that in Canada or the United States?
Hold on. I'm just going to explain this. So as a person that sees this firsthand, that drugs are around me 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, I am not a fan of this. And so I hear what you're saying, but as a person that wants people to get sober and go to treatment, I don't care who the flying frick helps us out with this. And if they do put a couple of things on us that make us pay attention and tighten up the belt, then let's have it. Because
that's not tightening up the belt. That's wasting resources. No, it's not, Angie. That's focusing resources at the border where they're not going to do the most good because we're.
But hold on, let me finish. My point being is if we can take care and start paying attention to the drug labs that we do have in Canada, like let's start at home. And if he is forcing us to do this, then by all means, I am for it. I realize that you have information and different details, but as a person that works here that doesn't do drugs,
you want Donald Trump to invade us to fix our drug problem?
No, I'm saying that if our governments and our lawmakers start to create change, then at least we're starting to do something, because as soon as we legalize drugs,
that's fine.
I'm of the belief
That's
that
fine.
it didn't help.
That's fine.
We are making more
we
drugs now.
but
We're
that's up to
shipping
us.
around Canada.
That's our problem, and we
Yeah,
will,
but
and we deal with it up
not
here.
just about that. It's about the drug use at home.
No, Angie,
Our-
it's about.
just allow me
That's
to
not what
finish.
it's about. That's not
Just
what this
allow
is
me to
about
finish,
tonight.
though, Rick. Like, the issue is in our community here in the Okanagan. We have our unhoused population has grown exponentially. We have people coming here all the time. Just allow me to finish.
No, stop. We're dealing with an international drug cartel. That's what we're dealing with here. And we're dealing with the Trump administration exerting pressure on the Mexican government. And they have been for many months in order to create even there a pretext for some sort of an invasion into Mexico, because they are carving up the world into three major spheres of dominance. That's what this is about tonight. As you just saw in that video, they've created chaos in the streets of Mexico. They've put people's lives in jeopardy because he's gone in there and he has put pressure on the Mexican government to take some sort of action with U.S. backing and pressure. And they've created a power vacuum now and a response from the cartels that has resulted in what you're seeing in the streets. This is why Sheinbaum has been against just decapitating the cartels, as I reported earlier tonight. She's been against that for a long time because she sees that this creates destabilizes everything. You've got this big problem that she's been trying to deal with. Not to say, I'm not saying that the Mexican government is squeaky clean on this, and maybe you have to deal with that down there in a different way, because it is a different problem in Mexico than we deal with up here. But how you deal with it also affects people at the ground level, citizens and tourists. We're seeing reports tonight from Laura Loomer saying U.S. citizens may be taken hostage. You see, this is the unintended consequence of irresponsible military actions against a government where you want regime change. And things like this rarely ever go to plan. So
absolutely,
always have unintended consequences where innocent people get hurt, where lives are overturned. Now you have buildings being torched, tourist areas being set ablaze, cars being set on fire, and a public display of power. And this is just the beginning. And look at how this war on drugs, as it resurfaces from administration to administration to administration on the U.S. side, always fails. And you know what the problem is? Because there's just too much damn demand in the United States. So they're not dealing properly with the demand, and they're going after these cartels. And I'll tell you, I mean, this kind of crap has been going on for decades, for a long time, and a big shift after the Cold War, for instance, in the way that the Mexican government evolved and the drug cartels took a greater hold down there. You've seen the CIA and their involvement in cocaine smuggling, the Reagan administration and the way that they dealt with, the Central American and Mexican drug issue and the cocaine, and now it's fentanyl. And yeah, the precursors come from China, but that stuff is smuggled in through the United States and through Canada.
It's not smuggled in. They're actually legal to come to Canada.
No, sometimes they're smuggling the stuff in. The FBI, they had a big raid where they got a lot of this stuff in barrels improperly labeled. There was a massive bust on the U.S. side. That was 3 months ago, I think. So a lot of that stuff is smuggled in. And that's why Trump wants to deal with, China and the precursors. And absolutely, we should be doing that. But it's not right to paint Canada as a narco terror state that is sending drugs to the U.S. It's not true. It's a lie. And
that's not my point.
That is the point tonight, though.
That's your point.
No, that is the point of everything we're seeing here tonight. You want to talk about, Canada's drug problem? I'm with you on that. But
here's the point. Since 1987, the Sinaloa cartel has been in charge of Mexico. So why hasn't the Mexican government got a stronghold and changed that? And here's the thing. I'm not a fan of Trump, but if he's now getting the cartel out, I realize it's horrible. But this is something that the Mexican government should have done themselves. And so now we have the Mexican cartel who have literally linked areas in British Columbia specifically, maybe other areas of Canada as well, and are making their drugs here. That is a freaking problem. That is our problem.
That's our
so
problem.
I hear what you're saying, but also too, if we have all of these drug cartels making fentanyl and meth in Canada, do we want someone to stop it? I'm not saying the government and the RCMP are doing a bad thing, but also too, a direct reflection of how many drugs we are getting into the country is also showing up, on the streets. I see it all the time. And so with our unhoused population,
I don't need Donald Trump to come up here and be our police force.
Well, no, I get that, but how else are we going to change it? Like, the government isn't doing it.
You're sure as hell not going to change it by bringing, U.S. forces up here to deal with our drug problem.
But that's not what I'm saying.
The United States has never been able to deal with their own damn drug problem.
I get that, but if you put pressure on governments as they've done to Mexico and Canada, don't you think, like, just this week in the Okanagan,
the other way around?
There's 3 very prevalent drug dealers and people who've been smashing and grabbing. They finally put them away in the Okanagan in the court system literally in the past 2 weeks. They have not done this before. There's 15 people who have done something like 1,500 police files in one freaking year. And so I hear what you're saying with that, but because of our judicial system and because it's so lax, because of the drug use, they give everyone, this open door policy. That is what happens in Canada. That shows that our cities are not safe anymore.
Look at LA.
And now they're empowered by the cartels making the drugs in the Okanagan. Like, that's the connection. It's horrible that this is happening in Puerto Vallarta.
You're never going to get rid of the drug problem. It's been going on for a long, long time. The drug smuggling I'm very familiar with, and the Canadian government does have a lot, pretty robust drug interdiction programs. They do make a lot of drug busts. I've covered how many drug busts over the years.
I can tell you right now that it takes a minimum of 3 months to get anyone into into treatment.
Mm-hmm.
It takes 3 weeks to get people into detox.
Yeah, but I don't need Donald Trump to come and fix our problem. He's got his own damn problems.
I get that, but what I hear that. I don't want him to invade Canada as well. But I'm asking, like, the cartels have ran it since before the 90s. So why hasn't Mexico changed that? And some people say the Mexican cartel have made it more safer in Mexico because the police force can't be everything to all things.
That's Mexico. This is Canada.
I remember back in the 2000s and early and late 90s where we had some bust against the Hells Angels. Back in the days was Wolverine Operation, and the U.S. was working in cooperation with the RCMP and all, SPVM, which is the police of Montreal, to bust every Hells Angels bunkers and whatnot. So it was, and basically what they did is they busted both Michigan, Detroit, and Montreal, Quebec, and other places in Canada at the same time, in the same day, to cut everyone off from the communication altogether.
Yeah,
so
they did the same thing with Kelowna right here, and also Nanaimo, and I think there was another place, like either Massey or Agassiz or something. So that was right across Canada. That happened here as well.
Yeah, but when they busted in Michigan and Detroit at the same time, that they did in Montreal, Canada, at the same moment. So, for example, I wouldn't be able to call the other guy in Michigan to say, hey, they're going to bust you up. No, they're already busting at the same moment. So no communication can go through to any organization between all of them. So it was like perfect bust. Why don't they use the same tactics now? I mean, they do, but to which extent in Mexico you got that chaos going on?
Canada has always worked with U.S. authorities on drug issues. We continue to do that. What's going on now is different. This is about politics. This is about geopolitics. This is what's on display here tonight in Mexico. This is gangsters. And it is about corruption, I'm sure, in the Mexican government. And you'll find plenty of that in the US government. And I'm sure you'll find some of it in the Canadian government too. But that's something that we as a sovereign nation need to deal with. And if the United States and Donald Trump is really concerned about drugs getting into the United States, then you know what they should do? They should secure their own damn borders. It's not up to Canada or even Mexico, frankly, to secure the border of the United States. It's up to the United States to do that. And I thought he did, since nobody was getting over the border illegally anymore, because it went from like the worst situation in the history of the United States to the best, and nobody was getting over. He just plugged up all those holes, remember? No more illegal immigrants. And if he can do that, why can't he just stop the flow of drugs over the border too? This is secure your own damn borders. Our border is our problem. Their border is their problem. That's not to say that, we don't work to try to stop shipments going over to the United States, but we just had another big drug bust. I think it was about a week and a half ago, of drugs coming into Canada from the United States at the Sarnia Blue Water Bridge. Happens all the time. It's up to us to intercept that stuff, and we did. It's not up to the United States to stop things coming from coming over into Canada. We stop the traffic. We check things. That's up to us, just like it's their job to do it going back the other way. If we can stop stuff en route to the U.S. and interdict drugs that way, we work with the U.S. authorities to do it all the time. But what's going on in Mexico, that ramped up is Operation Sinaloa, and you saw the U.S. military amassing on the Mexico-U.S. border. Prior to all of this has been going on since Trump came back into office. And now what's going on down there, this is the response to all that. U.S. intelligence being used to go in, just like in Venezuela, where they're just blowing people up in boats for suspected drug dealing. And who knows what's really going on? I mean, I don't know who these people are. We don't know. This is Mexico's problem, right? And this is something the Mexican government has always had to deal with. You've got all the drugs flowing up from Central America into Mexico. You've got the drugs in Mexico itself, which then go to probably the biggest drug market in the world. One of, anyway, the United States. Huge demand. You want to deal with it? Secure your border, deal with your drug addicts, and deal with the demand, and maybe check around the White House to see how much cocaine is floating around in there, because we've seen reports from time to time over the last few years that there seems to be a little bit of that in some washrooms. The hypocrisy smacks. And then Canada also being accused of being like this giant drug money laundering center. The Canadian banks cited in a lot of those reports, like what they don't tell you is that it's the U.S. offices that have also been involved in that money laundering. The U.S. offices of the Canadian banks, which is to say that they're actually in the United States. And so it's a joint problem. It's not a Canadian problem. It's not a Mexican problem. It's a problem that we have jointly, and we do work with them. But I don't want the U.S. military coming up here, or a paramilitary force coming into Canada to do what we have to do, which is to deal with our own damn drug problem. And we do have one. And that is because you have too much stuff coming from China. The precursors for fentanyl, and it is a terrible drug. And I've got a tent city just blocks from me here now, and that's not right. And I know that drugs are a big part of the problem there. And I don't think they ever should have legalized marijuana, because I think that has contributed to the problem here, in my personal view. And I see also that a lot of the problems come from the United States, because the drugs flow in from the U.S. into my community here, and the guns. Which also brings me back to what I said earlier. Where are these drug cartels getting all their weapons? Who armed them? Where did they get those guns and all the armaments that they have? Because they're heavily armed. Where does it say? Where is the state of manufacture? Trace those serial numbers, and then let's talk about hypocrisy.
when the majority of meth and fentanyl are produced here in Canada, I think that Canada needs to look at itself and clean itself up. They also need to become harder on those who make it. As far as I'm concerned, if you sell drugs that can kill people, you should be charged with attempted murder, in my opinion. I realize that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
There's one individual that was charged with something similar to that because they did have a fentanyl lab in West Kelowna. They went to jail, I think, for 5 years, got out in good behavior in 2.5, and then we're producing the product again. But as we make the majority of meth specifically that goes around the world, I think the government, our laws, and everything need to change. Because I'll tell you this, one thing that's horrific with meth too is if you continue to do it, you feel like you need it. And you get into this mindset where 8 hours of sleep, that's ridiculous because they stay up for 3 or 4 days. And so what ends up happening is when people go into psychosis, it's because they don't eat, it's because they don't sleep, and it's because they've done meth for multiple days. And so when you see people that I say are not of sound mind, who are a danger to themselves and others, like the ones that I've seen, I would say 85% of the time, that is from meth. And so, you know, in putting this all into perspective to how it hits home, that, you know, if the Mexican drug cartels are funding some of this and it's being made in Canada, like that's a huge issue to me as well.
Oh, sure. You know, and years ago, I did stories about drug smuggling at the Windsor-Detroit border, and it involved Mexican Mennonites, where they were bringing drugs across the border, and they were not suspected because they were seen as being sort of very religious and very conservative, and so the border guards often didn't even suspect that they were carrying drugs, and indeed they were. And so up in the Leamington area here, they those Mexican drugs were finding their way into our country via the Mexican Mennonite community, which is part of the farming community out there in tomato country. Here, this video was just sent to me. At Jamisec. Oh, there's no audio on these. Okay, hang on. The audio is not flowing through this system, so I'm going to do this. Let me bring it up over here as well. I think we can do it this way. I apologize, everybody. I cannot hear what you are hearing. It's not the best setup, so let's do it this way too. We'll do a dual feed. How about that? This should fix it. We'll start this again. I've got an idea. Haven't done this before. Just had, no, I can't do it that way, but I'll play it this way. So now our guests can't hear it, but here we go. Or maybe they can.
Well. Hey, guys, what's going on?
Yeah, you can hear.
I'm locked down in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I don't know if you guys can see me at all. Anyways, it's true. Yeah, they bombed one of the convention centers. Actually, not bombed. They're lighting up cars on fire. They've lit up some buses. Nobody was hurt, from what I understand. The only person that's actually been killed was one of the cab drivers that was driving a couple, probably to the airport, because they shot the cabbie, but the passengers, they let them go, but they lit up the car. A couple hours ago, I was walking down the local street here in the middle of town, kind of a Mexican town. And yeah, I seen people looking around the corner and thinking, what the hell's going on? And then sure enough, boom, a little bit of a fire. They lit up the OXXO, which is like a chain of variety stores. And unfortunately, I was going to go there to buy smokes, and I figured, no, I got to go find some pumpkin sauce for my dog. It's constipated. I don't know, maybe the beef is too good for her. Anyways, one of those little things. And what else? The airport, there's only one flight leaving per hour, max. So yeah, buses were set on fire strategically. From what I've heard, no one's been shot. But around 11 a.m., which is about 2-3 hours ago, they were shooting in certain areas. I haven't heard of any tourists getting shot. I think this is a big intimidation game. So apparently one of the big cartel bosses got arrested by the cops, and they're going to cause shit until they let this guy go. So it's a struggle between the cartels and the government, basically. So what they're also saying is that they're blaming Trump for this, which is why Costco is a target, the chain of OXXO variety stores is a target. They're busting windows in the beaches, in the tourist beach area. And we'll see what happens. Guess that's what happens when you mess with the cartels. They're going to retaliate, and it's all about money. But yeah, is the town locked down? Absolutely. I haven't seen one car go down the road in over an hour and a half now. As soon as you step out on the street, people are saying it's not safe, go inside. So the local Mexicans are really paranoid. And I met another American guy about a couple hours ago walking up the street, says, man, it's not safe to be out, get the hell, take cover until this spread blows over. You thought COVID was bad? This is worse. And if nothing's moving, food supplies. Oh, they did also light up a couple gas stations, I heard this morning. Haven't seen it to verify for myself. But at the moment, the skies are clear, blue skies. You don't smell the burning rubber tires or anything right now at the moment. And I'll keep you guys posted. For now, enjoy the fact that you're not in a cartel lockdown. Who's going to win this one? Will it be the government that eats babies? Or will it be the corrupt cartels? We'll see what happens. Enjoy.
No good scenario there. And I have to say, Angie, I don't mean to browbeat you. I appreciate you coming on. I'm just appalled at the way this U.S. administration is conducting itself. And they've just got their own damn problems, and they're sticking their nose into everybody else's business. And this is the result down in Mexico. They obviously have a problem. Now they've got a bigger problem. Will they, at least for now, I don't know. Maybe they'll fix it, but seems to me they've got they've got their own damn problems. But anyway, I digress. I'll throw it over to you guys so you can talk.
Well, I'll say this. If you guys want to say that Montreal is a problem, well, actually, yes and no. China does send a thing from the ports in Montreal because the old port is, well, a good entry for that. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, we have been giving a good bust in November 2025 on Plateau Montreal, which there were a fentanyl trafficking operation around there. And so, yeah, that was a bust in 2025 in November. So, yeah, I mean, we're also making our parts into busting the drugs, right? So that's what it is.
Yeah, and I have to say thank you to Isabel for sending me that link to that video, by the way. Thank you very, very much, Isabel. I appreciate it. So,
sounds like the sounds went.
What do you think's going to happen next?
I don't know, Angie. This is, I think this is terrible for the people. People are scared. I think, you know, as Ed just said there, everything's coming to a standstill. Supply chains shut down. What's going to happen to the food supply depends on how long this goes on. So this is cartels fighting a superpower, the United States, really, and their own government right now. But in the end, yeah, it comes down to the U.S. And so it's a standoff, right? It's like, F you, we're not going to take this. They decapitate the leader of one of the biggest drug cartels in the country. Now you've got a power vacuum within the crime syndicate down there. You have, and they see and the Mexican government, with the help of the U.S., coming in and attacking them like this. This is like, they've turned it into a war zone. I don't know if that's good for people. You can deal with a problem in a lot of different ways. So what's going to happen next? Probably more violence. And look at the threat. If you don't back off, we're going to go into these tourist resorts and start killing tourists. So then if that happens, or if civilians are killed, these are the people that then pay the price for this war on drugs. And then at the end of it, do you really think that they're going to solve the drug problem this way? I kind of doubt it. I remember the Reagan era and Just Say No and the war on drugs that way. And, you know, none of that really worked. We have to deal with the problem. I'm not saying we shouldn't try to deal with the problem, but I'd prefer to not have people shot in the streets or have tourists shot in the head in their hotel rooms tomorrow, if that's what it comes down to. And we're seeing these kinds of threats leveled at Americans and Canadians who are down there. This is maybe, I don't think this is really what they were planning on when they wrote up Operation Sinaloa.
It notes here that in 2006, the former president at the time, Felipe Calderon, launched an initiative to combat cartels using military force. And since then, in 2012, it was revised. But since 2018, the cartels have killed over 30,000 people each year.
I'm not saying I've got an answer. I'm just saying there are unintended consequences when you take actions like this. It's just like any war. It's like any war, right? Oh, it'll be over in a couple of days. Vladimir Putin goes into Ukraine. It'll be over in a week. 4 years later, right? Or we're going to go into Vietnam. It'll be no, it's not going to be a quick operation. We bombed Iran in Operation Midnight Hammer and we destroyed their nuclear program. No, they didn't. Now they're back over there already. And now they've got the biggest military buildup since the Iraq War, sitting in the Persian Gulf.
There's
So
no good way to clean up drugs. There's no good way to win a war. There's no good way to, and I totally understand, because I have been in media, for the fact that when they go and they take down a dictator, often the person who comes up is worse than what they previously had. Not only is it worse, but it creates an instability where other gangs or violent or horrific dictators gain power.
Right.
So I'm not saying there's a good scenario, but if they've been dealing with this for 20 years and nothing has happened, and I recognize the fact too, how many were murdered that were going to be going for the Mexican presidency. So there's a number of people that were considering going to run that ended up murdered, and the one gal who is now the president was hiding. So it's not a good scenario.
No, it's
but
not.
I don't have.
I don't think that, and that I get that, but it really is not up to the United States to tell them. It's not up to the guy in the White House right now to tell them how to conduct their affairs, when you can go to LA and see the drug zombies walking around on the streets, when you can go to New York City or virtually any large city in the United States, or even small communities, and see people completely drugged out.
Any medium-sized city in Canada, any small city in Canada.
That's exactly right. But that's our problem. That's Donald Trump's problem down there. That's their problem down there. Maybe we can work together on some things, and that's fine. But again, Operation Sinaloa and what we're seeing here right now, this is a huge deviation from having law enforcement working with law enforcement on the Mexican side. U.S. and Mexican law enforcement deal with what has always been kind of approached as almost always a law enforcement issue. This is a military operation, and this is not, in my view, this is not really about addressing the drug problem. This is a political operation. This is decapitation. This is bringing a government to heel. And everything I've said my piece.
Did Trump have an announcement on this today? I didn't see it if he did.
There was one post that I saw where he was saying that Puerto Vallarta has been, that the Mexican government has taken control of it again. I'll go to Truth Social right now and see if he's posting anything.
I'm looking right now, just because.
Because you would think that his press secretary would come out and say, kudos to them for doing it if he is behind it. And now has the government came out and said, or has the Mexican government came out and said that we have to do this because Trump is asked? Or is this just
no, because you see, they're dealing with it in a what they have said. They did issue a statement. I think it was the State Department said that the drug kingpin was killed by Mexican forces, not American. But they've also acknowledged that they are providing U.S. intelligence. That would be satellite intelligence and other intelligence to track the movements of their targets and so on, right? To help the forces on the ground. So the United States is involved in this. They're providing the logistics and the planning and the intelligence, and then the guys in the front line, those are Mexican forces, National Guard forces. So it the optics on it are, this is Mexico versus the drug cartels, which is true, but behind that you have it's all happening because of the Trump administration, which has been, at first they built up a huge military presence along the Mexico-US border, which we talked about on the program as they were moving those assets into place. And it looked like they were going to go in and actually invade Mexico at the time. And then they did actually have some strikes in Mexican territory with US drones and things of that nature. But it was a sort of a limited scale thing along the border itself. And that was the prelude to everything that came after that. But then, you've got some people in the and I was looking at interviews and comments made from within the administration itself and analysts after those drone strikes and things. And, there were, I think, more adults in the room who said, you really can't do this as just a straight up military intervention, which is largely what Operation Sinaloa was predicated on, or that's what the plan was to kind of invade Mexico because you have to go take out the drug cartel. So that puts your U.S. forces inside Mexico. That's problematic, especially from an optics point of view and a sovereignty-ish point of view. And so Trump backed off and they shifted this, and they're letting the Mexican forces deal with it on the front lines, but the United States is certainly involved. And they have acknowledged that they're doing that as a joint effort operation, but this is military. It's not police. So I don't know what else to say, man. Like this is not like the cops showing up and making arrests and raiding drug labs and things like this. This is a war. I mean, that's the difference. This isn't about raiding drug labs and arresting people and throwing them in prisons. This has turned into already a full-scale, full-blown kinetic war. And you got
no warrant.
Well, because the drug cartels are heavily armed, and we know where they're getting. You can have a pretty good idea where they get the weapons from, and so they're all armed up, and the people are suffering already as a result of it. Where's it going to go? I don't know, because they're using strategy, different techniques to combat an enemy that really way outguns them. How you don't just run straight up and confront a superpower, right? You have to use other tactics. So they'll use guerrilla warfare. They'll use terrorism on their own people to destroy even the economy, because they don't give a damn. These are drug lords. They don't care about the state of the Mexican economy. They don't care about the tourism industry. And I don't think they would hesitate to take American hostages. Do you remember the Iran hostage crisis? Of course.
So just to put this in perspective, though, too, because you're saying that the military, the National Guard is coming in, but to my understanding, the folks in Mexico believe that the police are absolutely corrupt. So they wouldn't be doing it because they are linked to the cartel, right? It's like, I think it was over 75% of Mexicans, when they were asked, thought that the police were all corrupt and connected to the cartel.
I have no doubt that they've got, serious problems like that. And you've seen here in Canada too, with the arrests up in Toronto, we have some issues like that up here too, but I'm certain that it's not anywhere near, the problem that
over 93% of crimes go unreported in Mexico. Over 93% of crimes go unreported or not investigated in Mexico.
Right. That's what happens when people lose trust in their police service. That's why we're lucky to live in Canada. And that's something that I learned even as a kid. Most other countries around the world, people don't really trust police. People are afraid of police. And I see people here trying to undermine that confidence and trust. And it's a terrible thing for our society, for our country, when we do see corrupt police officers engage in illegal activities. But we just saw that our system is kind of working because we've held those guys accountable. They're facing serious charges, and it's all up front. So
I just found this that Mexico ranks. What does Mexico rank in corruption? 141 out of 182.
Yeah.
So places just below Pakistan, Iraq, Bolivia, Cameroon, Guatemala.
Right. But that ain't us. And
100%. I'm just saying we all know that the the police are corrupt in Mexico, but yet they're 141 out of 182. There's 140 countries that are more worse off in corruption than them. That's concerning.
But
I mean, look,
I would just say this about, again, the United States. You know, they've got a whole lot of trouble in the United States. They've got a homeless problem. They've got drug addiction. They've got poverty. You know, he's got a whole lot of problems, a whole lot of trouble that he could be addressing on the home front. But no, he's down there, what, solving Mexico's problems? He's not there to solve Mexico's problems. He's there because he wants something, but he's not there to solve things. And he doesn't love Canadians in the way that he's saying he loves us. He's got his nose stuck in up here because he wants something. He wants a better deal on the bridge. He wants something always.
He wants oil and water.
Oil and water.
We all do that. Like, we all say that oil is what he wants, but when it comes to it, we all think like, and legit, the Arrow Lakes that is in Edgewood is the Columbia River that goes all the way down through. That's the fresh water that goes right to California. Like 100%, if a war happens between Canada and the US, my bet is going to end up being water. Because if we do have some people from the Arrow Lakes that are listening to this, because we thought we were going to have one of their neighbors on. But what happens is the United States takes so much water that the river, also known as Arrow Lake, is extremely low because they control it. We don't. Yeah. You know, and that's been a pain in the butt because the MPs, the MLAs, no one has authority to even broker a deal because this deal has been done for years. And unfortunately, they need more money because their population is growing in that area. But, you know, I guess if Gavin Newsom and all them still keep messing California the way they are, they're going to have more people move elsewhere.
So, yeah, and already on social media tonight, as I've said earlier, I see the politics being played with this already. That's probably the Democrats behind it, or, you know, it's just like, and well, here I am talking about the political side of it too, right? But that's because it is a political thing. That's the point. It's not, Donald Trump's not down there trying to solve a drug problem. And he's not trying to help the people of Mexico. He's down there sticking his nose in where it doesn't belong. Go ahead.
You two are well-known journalists and can know that what he's doing is a projection of crisis to manufacture consent to the people to get around a problem that is not even his. So that's what it is.
Yeah, it's manufacturing consent. Noam Chomsky. That's how you justify a war. You start off with your propaganda, and truth be damned.
Create a problem with a group of people and use that group of people to weaponize your speech on that and, well, manufacture that consent to attack those group of people.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, man. If Donald Trump manages to go down there the way that and assist the Mexican government and eliminate all the drug cartels, then that's great. Fantastic. I can't wait. I've got my fingers crossed, and I'm very hopeful that will happen. Well, how long do you think it'll take him to wipe out the drug cartels?
I don't know. What I think is that there's going to be a power vacuum in the organizations, or all the organization, and that's going probably to prop something even worse. I mean, we have seen that back then when we had drugs war in Canada, mostly in Montreal. Those vacuum can create a lot of chaos, and I would probably suggest that the government of America will try to put probably some puppet government if something happened, probably to the government of Mexico, because now they're working together ish. But what's gonna happen if someone falls, right? I mean, you never know what's gonna happen. I would probably think that all the cartels could probably align together, or some of them, and try to, I don't know, overthrow the government. Could be an idea.
Oh, no doubt. I think that you've probably hit the nail on the head there. It is a struggle for power within Mexico now. So you have the United States trying to control the government of Scheinbaum, and you have the drug cartel on the other side saying "F you." So where will that go? Maybe the assassination of Scheinbaum. They're going to put their own person. I don't know. It's it's just
So
a
I have
terrible,
I have
dangerous.
two reports saying that the military has now reclaimed Puerto Vallarta. Following a day of unprecedented urban warfare, federal forces have reportedly regained control of Puerto Vallarta and the surrounding Jalisco region after massive Code Red mobilization. But I'm only finding it on kind of far right news media. I haven't seen anything else.
I did see a post on Facebook, which I showed, which, where Donald Trump posted that. I had that up 10 minutes after he put that was put up on Facebook.
It says the Mexican Navy and the Army Black Hawk helicopters conducted it. So it's funny because if you think of Black Hawk, you think of the United States, but apparently the Mexican military purchased these from the United States.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got a few planes also from the U.S., but very few.
Dozens of incinerated vehicles and buildings.
Yeah, that's all to send a message because it's all a show right now. But we have had some people killed, some on the government side, some on the drug cartel side. Still, I don't think we've had any confirmed reports of civilian casualties at this point, just threats, right?
I think so. I'll make a double check just for the fun of it.
Yeah, I'm checking as well. Just says the top cartel boss is killed, and all I have is 4.
See this? So I found my old notes on Operation Sinaloa. And this is a U.S. military plan drafted by Major General Paul Vallely initially in 2020. Then it was updated, and there was just most recently updated in 2025. It's all aimed at combating Mexican drug cartels, particularly the Sinaloa cartel, and securing the U.S. southern border. So this plan was provided to then former President Trump when it was originally worked up by Vallely and the others around him. And there is a team of people that, in my view, was forming something of a shadow government after Trump lost re-election. And the plan goes to him, and the plan frames the cartels not just as drug traffickers, but as an organized military threat controlling territory in Mexico and infiltrating the U.S. and Canada. That's how they frame all of it in the plan. And so it was described in the media as a Pentagon report, though it's primarily a strategic report from Vallely's foundation. As I said, he's not really retired. He's still active and influential and has a direct line to Donald Trump and has. And it was like a report, but not really an official Department of Defense document, because he's basically running a military consulting service is what Vallely is doing. And so the key objectives behind it all, they want to designate major Mexican cartels, the Sinaloa, the Jalisco, New Generation, as foreign terrorist organizations to enable broader military and legal actions against them. You use that word terrorist, and people's and all rights go right out the window. As soon as you classify anybody as a terrorist, they cease to have rights. This means they can use extrajudicial killings. They can blow boats up in the middle of the of the ocean. You don't have to put anybody on trial. You can just go in and kill them through military action. And so the plan, Operation Sinaloa, emphasized and does destroying the drug cartels' global operations, including drug production, distribution networks responsible for the fentanyl crisis as it's laid out in the plan. And of course, to justify all of this, you get the information warfare going, because that's a key component to it all. And Dragon, Ian, you just touched on that. That is to manufacture consent, which is a key component to anything, as a precursor to anything that comes after. And so they wanted to, and they have, sealed the southern border to halt illegal crossings, drug smuggling, cartel incursions. That's why you saw the big military buildup along the U.S.-Mexico border shortly after Trump took office in Trump 2.0. And they wanted to highlight the cartel's access to advanced weaponry, 50 caliber sniper rifles. What else did I have in my notes here? RPG-7s, PKM machine guns. And there is evidence to say that this was sourced from the U.S., siphoned off on its way to Ukraine. So it was intercepted and then redirected to the Mexican drug cartels. That smacks of what went on during the Reagan administration. What was it called? It slips my mind at the moment. The big
Say no to drugs?
Contra.
Yeah, the Iran-Contra affair. Same
That's
crap.
the contra.
Same crap, different
That's
pie.
the contract operation, the Contra operation.
Colonel Oliver North, I don't know, Angie, if you remember any of that.
I do.
It smacks all of that stuff again. You have the U.S. Special Operations Command spearheading this effort, including direct military strikes, is what Vallely was calling for in the plan to neutralize the cartel leaders, the labs, the safe houses. And as I said, though, it didn't roll out this way. That was what was in the plan. But as they started to implement this, we got intervention from other people within the administration saying the optics not good. Should not be doing this. This looks like an invasion. So they put the ixnay on that A, and then they've done this instead, working more in cooperation with the Sheinbaum government, providing intelligence, but using Mexican forces to effect this, what is essentially a military operation, assault on the drug cartels inside Mexican borders. And so the plan called for expanded CIA-run spy flights, drone surveillance. What did we see in these videos? People making reference to seeing the drone surveillance today as part of this, and part of the reconnaissance efforts, and part of the U.S. intelligence information gathering process, so that they could attack these drug cartel operatives on ground level. And then the plan also called for integrating with executive actions, like Trump's reported plans for designating cartels as terrorists and conducting this broad cartel crackdown after taking office, which is what we're seeing right now. This is just the beginning of it. Again, don't take it from me. Take it from, what was the gentleman's name on that Rumble channel? Crown something or other. The Crow House official. Okay, he gets it. He sees it. This is just the beginning. It's happening. So the plan really does. It aligns with Trump's public statements about using military force against the cartels. And he even came right out and said it. He says he wants to wipe them off the face of the planet. And you've got these ongoing border security debates, all revolving around the talk about the cartels. Mexican officials, including the president, Sheinbaum, they've opposed these kinds of interventions, though, because they're concerned about Mexican sovereignty, because she sees that this is a threat to Mexico. This is a way for the United States to basically turn the Mexican government into a puppet government of the United States, to just come in and basically take control of the country. And so while, this was a proposal, but now you're seeing it in a revised form in action. This is something they've wanted to do for a long time. They've been working on it for years. And I'll tell you this, it's also about a power struggle within the Trump administration. There's some people around Trump who don't want to do this stuff. There are some people who absolutely do. And there is a group with Major Vallely that want this to happen. And so in order to keep his base of support happy and aligned behind him, this is like throwing them a bone. This is like, okay, this is what you get. You get to do this. So, and Marco Rubio, he gets to do what he wants to do in Cuba because that's been a goal of his for a long time. It's just handing out the goodies, and it's all part of the bigger plan, which is to enforce and enact the Dunroe Doctrine, I guess. Here we go, folks.
Yeah, well, I think that Trump at some point did undust few old document on his even in the first presidency, because, well, things that he's doing kind of remind me of something that was probably a long time ago on the shelf, if you will, but now that the technology is more acquainted to the plan, well, they can use the plan. And I'll speak of technocracy, actually, because that's where it comes to, I think. And I'm getting into that, actually. My research are close to its ends.
Well, nothing I have said is a secret. It's all out in the open. This is all public information if you go to find it. And we had Major General Vallely on the program one night.
All easy to find.
So I don't know what to say, man. This is very disturbing. I don't know what to say because I've said so much. So I'll just shut up. And again, I'll let you guys talk. And
no, you said so much, but no, actually, you covered it pretty much all. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. Where I think in the most, a pivotal moment in our history right now, and humanity ain't going to be the same soon. So, yeah, just brace yourself, guys, because we're seeing new territory being carved up in front of our eyes.
Well,
in real time.
And this also plays into the war on liberalism, socialism, communism, which is how it's framed, right? Because the Scheinbaum government is a socialist government, and Trump doesn't like that. So he wants to bring them to heel on that front too. He doesn't like Canada having a liberal, socialist, commie government. And all these efforts that we're seeing really globally, but certainly from coming from the White House, it's all aimed at taking down left-wing or socialist governments that they frame as, well, they portray even Canada in more extreme terms than I think is justified. But the point is, we've got a war on our hands, and it's just not the kind of war that we've really ever seen before.
A war of ideas. And
yeah. And I fear that it will, like so many other wars, spiral out of control. And Donald Trump is spread thin. He has his forces spread out from the Middle East to Venezuela to Mexico now and beyond. And this is going to be a concern. This is supposed to be the president of peace. This does not look like peace to me tonight. He brought chaos to Mexico.
No, Mike, but sorry.
And he put U.S. and Canadian citizens and others, tourists in harm's way as well. Tonight, I would say, not to say that the cartels are blameless here. They certainly are, right? They need to be held to account for anything that they might do to hurt people, or that they are doing to hurt people.
The 30,000 deaths that they
are
responsible for a year.
So, but again, so do you want to send the Canadian military down there to fix that? That would be my question to people. I don't think we want the Canadian military to go and intervene in Mexico to fix their drug problem. We've got our own to deal with, right?
But have they asked for our help? I think, right? Like, I think that's the key. And if Trump takes responsibility for tomorrow, or his press secretary, I guess, then we'll see that. Because you have to know, if he has pressured them, he will absolutely take responsibility for it.
They didn't ask for help. He imposed it. That's the whole point. He put pressure on them. But again, it's from where I sit and from what I see, this isn't about fixing a drug problem.
I think there's more than just a problem of drugs. It's just about, I think it's a middle finger to Putin and Neo-Eurasia to a certain degree. That comes back to this also.
You think this is him giving a middle finger to Putin?
To a certain degree. Well, what I think is that we have Neo-Eurasia from Putin and, Dugin, and that philosophy that actually Trump is also trying to build something against this. But at the same time, I mean, it's against us, right? I mean,
I don't think it's a middle finger, Ian. I think it's a complementary action. And what I mean by complementary is I think it's in alignment with all of that. Because if you read Dugin, and I have read some of his work, and so I understand to some degree the whole plan. And so this is part of the plan. And that is to say that Russia is not going to come and intervene. Russia also is not going to do, at least not supposed to do, very much to assist even Cuba, as he puts pressure on Cuba. I mean, all you have to do is just zoom out, look at the broad picture, look at what's going on. It's like he's blockaded Cuba. They have garbage piling up in the streets, causing problems for the people, to cause them to try to maybe rise up against their own government. They're having backdoor negotiations with the Cuban government. They want big changes down there. You saw what happened in Venezuela. Everything that I've said is coming to pass.
Yeah.
And now what they're doing in Mexico is exactly what I said was going to come to pass through Operation Sinaloa, and putting pressure on the government through this military intervention, such as it is. And my concern is all of the rhetoric directed up here at Canada is symbiotic with all of that stuff. And so we're in his crosshairs as well. And I don't want the shit that I see happening in Mexico happening on the streets up here, or anything even like that. So
basically it's Trump and Putin basically in aligning together into that planning.
And Xi Jinping, because I don't think if the way things stand, I really doubt that the United States, if Trump is still in office when China decides to invade Taiwan, I don't think he'll come to their assistance. He's just going to say, it's yours. It's too far away. It's not in our sphere of influence. That's why they've started, even under Biden, they started to move computer chip production back to the United States from Taiwan, which was their main concern. Repatriate that industry under the chips and what was it called? The Chips and Production Act or whatever it was. I can't remember the exact name.
I think that was the name. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Slips my mind again. But there was that under Biden, and now Trump, continuing the effort to bring that production back to the U.S. so that they can then they won't suffer on the technology or the economic side when China finally goes in and reclaims Taiwan or takes Taiwan. So that's the way the world is shaken down tonight. I'm afeared. Don't like it. Hope everybody stays safe down there. It's terrible. I bet you there are a lot of retirees down there on vacation right now who are just petrified. Lots of seniors and senior women just quaking on their boots, go down there for a holiday, and they have to deal with this.
I got a name for you. It's the Trade and Investment Act.
Maybe I think under Biden. I'm talking about
that's the new one. Sorry,
yeah, Trump replaced it right with his own legislation, probably through an executive order, which is the way he does everything.
With the Sharpie.
Yeah, but it was called something else. It was the Chips and Production Act or something under Biden. Doesn't matter. Point is, they're bringing the production back, and they spent a lot of money to do it. So there it sits tonight. So do we have the most up-to-date information? I'm just going to check to see if
I have this from someone currently in Puerto Vallarta, and just as fast as it started, the Mexican military appears to have regained control of the cities and the regions which the cartels were trying to destroy, assisting the police with the Navy, a few Blackhawks, and armored vehicles targeting the cartel. Members were actually hiding in residential areas. This was the issue. Most of the fires are out. The gunfire has stopped, and now the sun sets. So this was a couple hours ago.
Yeah. Who knows what their plans are, their strategy.
And no casualty into the public. Mostly the casualty were cartel or army. So
I think there's 8 total casualties, 4 from the National Guard and 4 from maybe the police. I'm not entirely sure. Or no, the cartel, pardon me.
Yeah.
Real quick. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, you're right. 4 from the CGIN members, 3 including El Menchos, 3 Mexican soldiers, no civilian casualty.
So yeah, we've seen chaos tonight in 9 states across Mexico. Torching vehicles, buses, public transport, blocking roads, highways, engaging in firefights with authorities. We've seen, as you just said, casualties, these widespread blockades, smoke from burned vehicles seen on the horizon from hotel room windows, from resorts, all those vehicles torched at that Costco store and gas station. We've seen other gas stations set on fire as well. Mexican government. Sorry, go ahead, Angie.
It was noted here that the cars were hijacked and the buses to block the roadways. This is from someone. It says it's been a sad and dramatic day here in Puerto Vallarta. You might have seen on the news the big boss from the cartel was killed early this morning. We awoke to the city on fire, mostly hijacked cars and buses meant to block roadways. Fortunately, there are no reports of civilians getting killed. We're reluctantly making this post because friends and family are asking. We are safe. We are fine. We are well fed. This isn't about us. It's about the community. And if I've learned anything from living here for 4 years, is that Mexicans are resilient, resourceful, and friendly. They will bounce back from this as they always have. Viva Mexico.
We're going to see more chaos in the days ahead. Certainly tomorrow, I think we're likely to see strange things on the stock market. We'll see likely the Mexican currency suffer. It will probably tank.
Here's another report. We're coming to you live from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with the latest in the situation. As of 5:30 p.m. local time, there's an increased military presence, including helicopters actively circling part of the city near where the fires were reported earlier today. While the fires have largely been reduced, you can still see smoke in the air from some of the neighborhoods. Troops have been spotted on the ground in various sectors, and although activity remains heightened, we are now seeing cars and pedestrians moving through the streets again, though in smaller numbers than usual. This update is meant to show what's currently happening here without speculation. Stay safe, and as always, we'll keep you well informed with our direct coverage and further developments. This is a fella, David, living outdoors, retired from the University of Western Ontario, now currently. I'll send that one to you.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Just because I'm curious, and I'm not a economist like Rick, but I'm gonna keep an eye on the economics, and yeah, we'll see what's gonna happen to the stock market in the hours to come.
Exactly, and see who makes the money. I think that's a telltale sign. If we know anything about the Trump administration, they likely gave their buddies a heads up, told them what to buy and what to, score low on, and we'll see who made the billions tomorrow.
Yep.
Well, you've seen the allegations leveled at Howard Lutnick's family. Did you see that, Angie?
No, I did not.
Yeah. What they did, or what they're alleged to have done, accused, is, of course, Lutnick was part of the team that wrote the tariffs, right? So the accusation is that he knew that the Supreme Court would rule against the tariffs. And on the stock market, you could place bets essentially, or purchase the option to cash in any kind of refund that the government would issue to a business for the tariffs. So if you have a business, you could sell the option, right? You could sell on the market your right to claim a refund on the tariffs if the Supreme Court ruled against and said illegal. You got to refund all these monies because it's the businesses that pay them. So the allegation is that the Lutnick family bought billions of dollars worth of these things for pennies on the dollar. And then he goes live and says that he thinks that the Supreme Court is going to rule in favor of Trump. And then, of course, they rule against him. And now, potentially, that money is paid back. They'll making a profit. Dollars. Yeah. Because they bought them for pennies on the dollar. So I want to see the paper trail on it, but those are the reports, and that's what I've been saying for a long time. If you have a controlled economy through tariffs, you can pull the levers, and if you know when you're going to pull the lever, you can control the markets. And that's what he has been doing. You know when it's going to go up, but you know when it's going to go down because you make it go up and down just by the things you say and the tariffs that you decide to write, or how much you increase it or decrease it. But anyway, let me just see what you sent me here.
I can tell you one thing: the price of gas is gonna go up.
So you know what's crazy here in the Okanagan is our diesel, I think, is $1.70, and we actually got down to, I think it was close to 99 cents a liter for gas within the last 10 days. Now I think it's about $1.27, but like $1.70 for diesel. Anyways, gentlemen, I'm gonna have to excuse myself because I have a dog that's crying out my door here.
Okay, well, again, Angie, I got a little heated at times. Wasn't really meant directed at you. I'm sorry if I was too emotional tonight, but I do appreciate you coming on. I just love my country, and I don't want that crap up here. That's what it comes down to. And I
love my country, and I don't want any more illegal drugs coming across the border. But
I don't want them coming across the border either. Me either. So let's shut that shit down. We can
Amen.
work on that together. All right.
All right. Have a good night, gentlemen.
Thank you. See ya. All right, Ian. With that, it's probably time for us to wrap it up. It's like 10:30. I think what we're seeing here now is a lull in the storm. Things are quieting down. Looks like for the night, maybe we've got some stability, at least in Puerto Vallarta, where it looks like the government has retaken control of that tourist resort. So hopefully things are a little safer for people there, but I don't think it's over.
No, I think it's just episode 1. So we'll brace ourselves.
Yeah. And with that, folks, thanks for joining us here on this strange and weird and special broadcast of Maverick News tonight. And thank you for your patience with all the technical stuff and with me. And we will be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern.
On the flip side. And stay safe in Mexico.
Yes, please do that. Wait a second, I lost my spot again.
Did I make you lose your spot again?
No, it wasn't you. It's just I have so much stuff on my screen here tonight that I can't keep things straight. Can't keep track of stuff. There's what I'm looking for. All I can say is it is time to walk Cosmo. And once again, see you tomorrow on the
flip side.
I heard old Cosmo howling last night up on the hill where the moon shines so bright. He was singing a tune, lonesome dogs cry about freedom and running and touching the sky. If I leave here tomorrow, won't you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as the wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. Cosmo's got them paws that just itch to roam. He's chasing his dreams, he's far from home. With a heart full of love and a spirit so free, he's living his life wild and carefree. If I leave here tomorrow, won't you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as the wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard of a blur. Cosmo's on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through fields, breaking all the lanes. Yeah, the night's getting cold and the sky's turning gray. But Cosmo's still out there, he's miles away. He's not looking back, he's got his path to tread. With every step, he's leaving his path. If I leave here tomorrow, won't you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as the wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. So if you're feeling lost, just think of Cosmo's run. Remember his spirit, his freedom, his fun. And maybe one day, when you're feeling alone, you'll find your own freedom and let your spirit go. If I leave here tomorrow, won't you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as the wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard of a blur. A heart full of love and a spirit so free. He's living his life wild and carefree. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in never heard a word. Cosmo's on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through the fields, breaking all the lanes.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.